If you're a podcaster that's looking to grow your impact online, to grow your podcast, to increase downloads, to increase subscribers, followers on all different social media platforms, I put together 27 lessons specifically for you. The title of this course is called How to Generate 100,000 Views per Episode Through Clips, essentially. Right? So what this is going to cover is how to chop up your long-form conversation, your long-form episode, into the right social media posts, different sizes, different variations that are going to then get posted on all these different platforms, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, TikTok, etc., to get a reach of 100,000 people at least per podcast episode. The Iron Sights podcast, amazing podcast hosted by Scott Howell. Thank you for, teaming up and letting me do this and kind of show the behind the scenes process. For this course, we're going to be using Premiere Pro. We're going to be going through organizing your footage. We're going to be going through syncing. We're going to be going through editing. We're going to be going through creating platform specific content, which is pretty much knowing and understanding YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and the sizes of videos that are posted, and then learning how to resize your videos for those platforms. The real pain point here, I think, is that people have incredible content. They have a great long-form conversation, and they think that posting it on YouTube, because it's so good, is just going to, get people's attention, when in reality, it's not at all. So the goal of this course is so that you or somebody on your team, or even somebody that you hire for minimum wage or an intern that you bring in, can go through these 27 lessons and be able from start to finish to take the files from your podcast and turn out and create an audience for you, and get at least 100,000 views per episode. We're going to be taking an example episode where we were able to do this, and it's nothing crazy. It's nothing special. The Iron Sights podcast did have one interview where a police officer got shot in the face with a BB gun. He told a crazy story. Myself and my team were able to chop that up and get over 10 million views from that episode alone, based off this kind of formula that I'm sharing here. It's the exact same thing, the exact same steps that we used. And one of those clips alone, just one of them, all right, we posted almost 30 videos from that episode. Just one of those clips added 20,000 subscribers to the channel, and got over 6 million views. All right, but combined over 10 million views. But I don't want to show you the anomaly. I don't want to show you the fancy, crazy shot in the face example, because chances are not all your guests are going to be shot in the face. What I want to show you is a simple exercise video example of a podcast that we're talking about power, strength and power for, muscle building, etc. Right? So a lot of people have done this, but the point is this formula still works. So we're going to jump in with lesson 1. If you don't already have Premiere Pro installed, you're going to need to install that. There are videos on 8042 Tutorials YouTube channel, or you can simply YouTube, how to install Premiere Pro if you need those basic step-by-step. But what we're going to get into here is much more specific. You're not going to find these detailed videos online, at least not in the same place. So once you get Premiere Pro installed, go ahead and jump into lesson 1. I'm going to show you guys how to organize your timeline and get started in Premiere. We're going to be taking in your footage and organizing it into bins so we can stay organized through this process. It's a good habit, and whether you have 1 camera angle, 2 camera angle, 3 camera angles, or 4 camera angles, this podcast course for clipping all these clips is going to give you exactly what you need. So we're going to give you an example with 4 camera angles. But you can apply this if you have less. Let's get started. We're going to get started in Premiere Pro. Step number 1 is, of course, to download and install Premiere Pro. And once it's ready, we're going to go ahead and click on it from the taskbar to open it up so we can create a new project. On the left-hand side of the screen, we're going to click New Project. And we're going to go ahead and give this project a name. Let's just say Test Episode. But you can label it however you would like. And under project location, you can go ahead and choose a location and select a folder on your computer or hard drive, wherever you want to save this Premiere Pro project file so that you can open it and continue editing whenever you'd like. Then click Select Folder. Now, there's a lot of different options here. There's import settings. There's ways to import specific footage. We're going to go ahead and click inside this box and then click Create. After clicking Create, you will see that we're left with a blank Premiere Pro timeline, as well as no footage has been imported yet. And so we want to start creating folders to organize our footage. All right. So bins and folders are essentially the same thing in Premiere Pro. Hopefully you're a little bit familiar with the timeline and the settings and some of the tools in Premiere Pro, but if you're not, that's completely fine. You're going to learn step by step everything you need to know within this program. All right, so here we can go ahead and hover under New Bin, all right, to create a new bin. And we're going to go ahead and select to create a bin for our footage. And we're going to create another one labeled audio. All right. Now within our footage, we know that we have 3 camera angles. So we're going to click inside there and then select camera 1. All right. Click out of that. Click new bin, camera 2. All right. Click out of that. Click new bin and camera 3. Okay, so if we come back to our test episode, you'll now see that we have a folder for our audio. We have a folder for our footage, which has, of course, cameras 1 through 3 inside there. We can also come into the footage bin, and I'm going to go ahead and select another camera angle, which is full body. All right, so this is going to include everybody in the podcast. All right, so we have a full body shot. We have 3 camera angles for each of the guests or hosts on the show. And we can click between these sequences here. All right, you have your effects, you have your libraries. We're going to go over that in separate tutorials. All right, but that is how we're going to set up all the bins for our footage before we even import it. Okay, now, if you're having trouble and this looks completely different, what I want you to do is come up to Window under Workspaces and just make sure that you're in the right spot. Okay, so we're going to either be in Editing, you could follow along here, or if you are in Assembly, you could also follow along there. Okay, by clicking on these different workspaces, it's going to change the look of our kind of setup. All right, so if we're in audio, that's going to look different. So you can get slightly confused depending on the workspace, but let's go ahead and select editing for now so that we're all in the same place. And then if you do still need to create those folders since you were in a different workspace, you can. We're hovering over bin, new bin, and creating different folders to be able to organize your footage. Now, you can follow along specifically the way I'm doing, or you can create your own that makes sense to you. There's really no rules here. But after creating the bins, next we're going to move into creating sequences for our footage.